guys are outstanding. Thank God. Amen. Amen. I was surprised me every Sunday. Yeah, thank God. John chapter 6. Amen. John chapter 6.
Amen.
We'll start at verse 64. Now be reading from the NRSV. It's also displayed on the screen from the NRSV as well. John 64 says, "But among you there are some who do not believe." But Jesus knew from the first who were the ones that did not believe, and who was the ones that would betray him. And he said, "For this reason I have told you that no one can come unto me unless it is granted by the Father." Because of this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer went about with him. You may be seated. Father God, we thank you for this opportunity of this day. The day before our young people educated you, ready to go back to school, that you allowed us to be into the mission. Thank you for those that are represented here. Thank you, Lord God, for our young people, the choir, what they are doing, Father God. We know it's all for the uplifting of your name. God, we pray that something be said today that will prick our hearts. And if somebody in here does not know you and part of it, they're saying that they will come asking what will they do to inherit eternal life. For I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I that live, but Christ who lives in me. Life I live in the flesh, I live by faith through the Son of God who loved me, delivers himself for me. God, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in the sight of God, and rock, my strength, and my redeemer. Amen. Amen. In just a few moments, I would like to talk about from those verses, don't quit. And this is going out to our young people who go back to school. Amen? Amen. It seems like there's information everywhere. It seems like everywhere you turn, information is available. It seems like the more information we have available to us, the less educated we become. Our children have become, when I was growing up, it's amazing. I remember seeing the guy coming by the house selling encyclopedias. Y'all probably don't know what they are. And if you didn't have the money to pay them all at one time, you pay them a little bit each month. You could also go to the library. And back then they had what they call the Dewey Decimal System. I know y'all don't know about that. They showed on there, you said that, yeah. But even the library seems to be a thing of the past today. People don't buy encyclopedias anymore because we have all the information you want on your cell phone or your tablet. But with all this information, it seems that we're becoming less educated. There's a school of thought that suggests that nowadays there's a lack of expectation of our children. And there's a lack of expectation of parents or parents. And that teachers nowadays really have no expectation or firm conviction of the children who they are teaching. That in many cases students won't learn based on lack of expectation. If we don't expect them to learn that, they won't learn. The school system, if the teachers don't expect them to learn, they won't learn anything. And I thank God for those old teachers, so even though they didn't have all the technology investment that we have today, they believed every student should learn and had the capabilities to learn. What they believed was when you got in the classroom, you was going to sit your butt down and listen to what they had to teach you. They was going to ensure you knew how to read. It was important to learn that they had expectations for each one of their students. Also, there's this thing called limited environment. That is when the environment in which our children are in, it does not promote them finishing school. We live in a time when teachers are under stress and fear of losing their jobs because of what's called standardized tests, which does not take into consideration that all people don't test well. You have to also ask the question, Who's responsible for putting this test together? These types of issues in the environment can make it difficult for our children to learn. Those factors have a direct implication on our high school dropouts. As a matter of fact, they're building prison on the test scores of the fourth graders. At the time of this text, a similar scenario is unfolding. Some have started to follow Jesus, but they want to quit. They've started, and when his teaching got hard, they decided it was time to drop out. They heard his teaching, and they decided, I no longer want to be enrolled in school. I'm 16 years old. I can talk for my own self. I can make my own decision about what to teach in school. They went through proper orientation. They've been given their locker assignments. They know their homeroom is. They know their teacher's name. And as a result of the teaching, the crowd has became overcrowded. The halls have become overcrowded. He's done such a good job at teaching that the males are still in school. John tells us that there are 5,000 men, not including women and children, who are in this school. The whole family is involved in this educational process. The whole family. I will never forget, some years ago, when my wife got married, been married about 3 years, and we decided we wanted to have children. And one thing I asked her, I said, what are you good in? She said, what do you mean? What subject am I good in? I said, I can do the math, I can do the history, I can do the literature, I can do those things, but anything above preschool math, it's on you. Somebody in the house got to be able to help the kids with their homework. I learned, if I don't know nothing else about math, I know 0 times 0 equals 0. And none of you, neither one of us know math. Who's going to help them with their homework? It's important that the whole family be involved in the educational process. On this particular day, something has happened. Their learners find themselves in a unique situation. It's amazing because we see in this passage that the men were there, which means the men were being taught as well as teaching their family. They could lead their families in being taught. But in the middle of the day, when it was time for them to change classes, they headed for the door on a promise of never returning. People are quitting. Verse 66 says they went back and they wanted to learn from him no more. It's right there in the text. One of the saddest verses I believe in the Bible. They were with him. They was following him. Now they get to a point where they say, we don't want to learn no more. I believe that there are some reasons why these students quit what they started. Number one, you got to go to school for more than lunch. I'm going to talk to you from the text. Go to verse number 5, John chapter 5. It's in our text. When he looked up and saw a large crowd coming towards him, Jesus said to Philip, where are we to find bread for these people to eat? Jesus had been teaching all day long. There was no meal plan. There was no free or reduced lunch. They discovered that one lad had brought his snack. Jesus commanded the paraprofessional, and he said, have them all sit down. He took the bread and he blessed it, and he fed 5,000 men, not including the women and children. Ironic, because even today, many of our children go to school hungry. Some of y'all don't believe, y'all getting quiet. I'm glad none of your children go to school hungry. But there are children in this city that go to school hungry. Some of our children live with irresponsible parents. And the only time they can get a nutritional meal is during the day at school. Many of our kids today are excited about going back to school because they know they ain't got no groceries at home in the refrigerator. It's a sad reality when we have to depend on the school to be responsible for our educational and then also our nutritional needs. And also to provide love for our children. Our children should not have to go to school in order to get a good meal. Many times, because mama and dad are so caught up in their own stuff, mom is often too much caught up in doing what she wants to do. She's too concerned about the beauty salon, getting her nails done. That she ain't taking make sure she got a perm. And I often wonder, why do y'all call it a perm? Why don't you call it temporary? Because we have to do it. Help a brother out. Many times, the mother, she's too worried about her boyfriend. The sad thing about it, most times the boyfriend is at home playing on the kids' PlayStation all day long, while mama's at work. And he got his lazy, rusty behind sitting at the house and doing all the groceries. And the boyfriend got chores on, and the kids walking around in hijacked and stinking pants and holes in his shoes, but because of irresponsible parents. And he's borrowed his girlfriend's car, and she has no way to get around. And her and the children are walking around, and mama is allowing this man to do something to her and her kids that he won't even do for his own self. We got to put a priority on our children. Priority can't be on your boyfriend or your girlfriend, the baby's mama, the baby's daddy. Priority has to be on your children. Whatever you do, don't you put no man ahead of your child. Don't you put nobody ahead of your child. I don't care who they are, I don't care how good he look. They can be as handsome as me. Don't put him ahead. You ain't got time for them. Don't throw yourself or your kids away because you're so desperate and you're so hot in your britches that you need a man by any means necessary. A cold shower still works. You ought to say, if you want me, come and get me. And if you come to the crib in the Corvette, and then you got the 2 seats on, say, well, it ain't but 2 seats in there. I got 4 kids. If you want me, you need to go trade that in for a minivan and come back. See, many of y'all ain't got the nerve to say that, but that's why we're in the situation we're in today. Because we're looking out for ourselves and not our kids. If he loved you, these baby kids, you say you love me, they come with me. Grandma told me all the time, she said, Tony, don't you ever get a woman that wants the milk and nobody the cow. Now, I ain't saying my wife a cow because she's nobody close to that. But too often, you giving up the goodies. Right. I'm sorry, Sister Gray, I'm sorry. Stop neglecting yourself and your children for what you call a man. Jesus made sure he fed the crowd. If you got to feed him, if you got to pay for his movie ticket, if you got to put gas in his car, Janet Jackson said, I can do that all by myself. Look at verse 26. Before we read verse 26, I'm going to stay in the text. Jesus answered them, very truly I tell you, you're looking for me not because you saw signs, but because you ate yourselves full of loaves. Say, you don't really want me. You just want what you can get from me. You got to be smart enough to know when somebody just want, whether they want you or they want what they can get out of you. Jesus said, you don't want me or my message. All you want is lunch. It reminds me of some people who work in the kitchen. Pastor's anniversary, church anniversary. And you think they just like feeding folks. But I learned that ain't what it's all about. Many times that ain't the cause. The reason why they like this culinary experience of working in the kitchen ain't because they love to cook. It's because they already packed their car with 15 boxes. Very outdated. Perhaps they ain't got nothing to take home. I know I'm telling you because I've been black and families all my life. I know how it works. After man fried 3 turkeys, we only took 2 with us. I don't know what happened to the other one. I know they eat up everything in the kitchen. They say, y'all ate it all? No, we ain't had that homemade pineapple cake. No, we ain't had that. is your favorite subject. It's sad when we got 5th and 6th graders and I ask them what their favorite subject, they say PE. That don't make you no living. PE and lunch, that ain't gonna make you no living. You can't be hanging out in the hallway with your friends. Make sure that you are connected with some people who want to get educated as well. Make sure you hang out with some folks that know the reason why they're in school. If they hanging out in the class, in the hallway all day, you make the folks you want to hang out with. As a matter of fact, they really ain't your friends. You got to go to school and get something that fills your head and not your belly. But secondly, you need a proper work ethic. Verse 27 says it like this: do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures for eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For it is on him that God the Father has set his seal. Then they said to him, what must we do to perform the works of God? Jesus answered them, this is the work of God, that you believe in him who has sent me. It takes more than lunch. You got to be willing to put some work in. All the time y'all spend on them games, and then you spend 10 minutes in a book. And you got to put some work in. You got to go beyond lunch to get some understanding. Many of our kids don't know how to study. Because many of us parents don't know how to study. They got so used to beats and iPhones, iPad. Every time they look around, some of them got something stuck in their head. They used to Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. They know how to do all of that kind of stuff, and they don't even know how to hold a decent conversation. So many of our kids, they ain't like Juju. Juju looked in the eye, gave me a note, and I was going to put it in my pocket and say, no, read it. And she stood there until I read it. Then she gave me a hug. Most of our kids don't have that type of confidence. They don't know how to carry a conversation. They don't know how to talk to adults respectfully. Don't ask them to spell nothing. The only thing you're going to get, I-K-R-L-O-L, M-N-O-P, Q-R-S-C, W-X-Y. They don't know how to spell nothing. And don't ask them why they curse. Your life has to be more than just posting pictures on social media. You got to get something in your head. You got to be willing to do something other than be talking about, Kiki, do you love me? Some of y'all know what Kiki is, don't you? You got to know something about other than that kind of stuff. Put something in your head. We got 15-year-old boys with earrings and these sponges, and my 16-year-old, every time I look at him, he's somewhere trying to twist his head. I was trying to twist that. And so I told the barber, they cut it low so he can't be twisting nothing. You know, he still was trying to twist it. We got all these sponges trying to make our hair look nappy. If that sponge can soak up something and put it in your head, let it soak up something and put it in your brain. Go to the library. Soak up some knowledge. Sister Slaughter said, why you punish your son? I said, why you got him in there reading books? That ain't punishing him. They need to read. Then I won't know what you read. Realize that your slave ancestor would have given their life to have the freedom that you and I have. They would have given their life to get a free education. Our ancestors would have their hands cut off, their eyes plucked out, because it was illegal for them to write and read. They risked their lives because the slave masters knew that reading was fundamental and knowledge was power. They would risk their lives. They would rather die than be dumb. And some of us would rather be dumb than die. Yet, these slaves who would learn to read by candlelight because they wanted to learn, voting rights were not given to them because they said they couldn't read, they couldn't write. Now that we can read and write, and we won't go for it. 46 minus 1 trying to make sure we can't vote. Even our own president said, you can't vote in this country if you don't speak English. But the first lady of this country, she had to learn to speak English. I ain't going political. This is my message and I endorse it. We got to put God first. When you have some education in your head, can't nobody take that from you. Put God in your heart and put that work in. Get your education and don't go to school just for lunch. 30. Don't run from the hard subjects. Verse 41. Then Jesus began to complain about. Then the Jews began to complain about him because he said, I am the bread that come down from heaven. They were stuck in the lunchroom. They are more concerned with socializing and they are more concerned about what their friends are doing. They're murmuring because they don't understand what Jesus is saying. While the teacher is teaching, the students are in the classroom talking about what they're going to do after school. When you go to school, it's important that you find out who your real friends is. But when you get in the classroom, it ain't about friendship. You can talk during lunch. You can talk before school. You can talk after school. You can talk in the hallway. But when you go to class, sit your behind down and shut up. Many times your friends don't want to learn, and they will keep you from learning. That's not a friend. That ain't a friend. If somebody's going to keep you from learning, if your friend wants to be done, then that'll be done without you. They are in class murmuring. Look at verse 59 and 60, y'all. I'm staying with the text. 59 and 60. He said these things while he was teaching in the synagogue at Capernaum. When many of his disciples heard it, they said, this teaching is difficult. We can't accept it. They said, we can't accept this stuff. This subject is too hard. Give me art. Give me PE. I don't want nothing that's going to challenge my mind. Give me something that won't stretch me. Give me the easy subject. Give me, what's that cooking class called? Homemade. What y'all call it nowadays? Huh? Facts. Yeah, they call it facts. Yeah, give me that kind of stuff. Don't stretch my mind. I don't want no homework. Don't give me no AP honor courses. I don't want to do that. You got to stop allowing yourself to be so comfortable and make yourself uncomfortable so you can learn the tough subjects. I learned a long time ago, average means you just at the top of the bottom. That's all average means. You on top of the bottom. You can be more than average. God gifted you and I to be more than average. Take a foreign language. You can learn. I took some. Took me a long time, but I took them. You got to apply your buttocks to the chair and the book to your head. Put some work in. Don't run from the stuff that's hard. You spend more time on social media than you ever spend in the classroom. You got to realize when you graduate, 70% of those people you would never see again. And in 5 years, you will forget half of their names. In 10 years, 20% of them would only have 12 teeth in their mouth. Apply yourself. You will make some new friends. By the time you go to college, you'll have 3 or 4 other boyfriends and girlfriends. But you have to allow yourself, you can't allow yourself to be stuck on average. You ain't ready for love at age 12, 13, 14, 15. You're still a puppy. You're still wet behind the ears. You may have a grown person body, but your mind ain't ready for all of that. Stop trying to be grown so fast. Spend some time doing the difficult things in life. You got the rest of your life to be grown. Get yourself together and realize you're a bad mamma jamma all by yourself. You don't need nobody to make you better. School is for you. You got to educate yourself. We're living in a world where things and times are changing. Technology is changing. Matter of fact, I love me some Amazon. I can sit there and poke it in, and because I have membership, it better be there the next day. I love me some Amazon. They're always coming up with new technology. You can order your groceries, and the drone will be dropping it off in your house within a few hours. And so what I'm trying to say, get yourself together, elevate your mind. I need y'all to do me a favor. Invent something so that I ain't always up against the back of the door trying to scratch my back. Figure out a way I can put lotion on my back without always scratching. Y'all got some great brilliant minds in here. Do something with it. Invent something. We got some engineers, we got some smart people in this room. You just got to apply yourself. Jesus' knowledge. Be sure you get the hard thing, but don't underestimate his knowledge. Verse 61 says it like this. But Jesus, being aware that his disciples were complaining about it, said to them, does this offend you? He's the teacher, but yet he knows that they are murmuring behind his back. You know, that's how y'all be your parents. You don't think you know what you're saying? Don't go to school doing that. Look at verse 64. Verse 64 says it like this. But among you there are some who do not believe. But Jesus knew from the first who were the ones that did not believe him and who was the ones that would betray him. They were in class thinking he couldn't tell them anything. They thought they knew it all. They thought that there was a waste of time for them to be sitting in math. And so he couldn't tell them nothing in their mind. So they sit in the back of the room and they complain and murmur about what was going on. Instead of being there to get an understanding, they were just there for lunch and for PE and for art and for facts. They weren't there to tackle the hard subject. And so when he started talking a difficult thing, they started complaining because they didn't understand. A good teacher can always tell who's there for the learning. Those who are involved in our education system need to realize first and foremost, most important, that bathe your lesson plan in prayer. Matter of fact, parents, before your kids leave home, get up and pray with them. Get up and read some scripture with them. My kids used to try to sleep in on purpose late because thinking that if they got up late, don't be up that late, that they wouldn't have to go to prayer with them. But no, you're going to be late to school, but we're going to pray this morning. These kids need prayer. Some of our kids are being labeled as slow learners. Some of our kids are taking rhythm. They're labeled ADD, ADHD, and they are challenged in their learning. Sometimes it's not because they can't learn, but it could also because of the pace and the place and the type of learning and the ways we're trying to teach them. Our kids may not always do good on blackboard and chalkboard. Some of our kids act out because they ain't getting no love in their home. And the only way they know how to get love is to get in trouble in school. Don't be so quick to label every child. Go ahead and PRAY. Ask God to show you who needs what. And I was in that baby boom generation where there was more kids than ever. And I don't remember all that ADD, ADHD, all that kind of stuff. I was a busy child. I was real busy. I'm going to tell the truth for my mama did. Tell the wrong. I was busy. But what my mama did, as busy as I was, she would always get a BELT. Put it on my ASS. Some of these kids just need a belt put on them. We got to learn how to put our kids in their place. Don't be afraid to take the cell phone. You paying the bill. Don't be afraid to take the car keys off. Don't be afraid to go in their room. The kids locking you out of their room. And you paying the rent or you paying the house note. And you can't get in the room that you paying for. What in the world going on in here? I'll kick the door down. I don't have anything up in here. I don't know the roles you got on. Take them out. All that belongs to me. I tell them that. I told you that. I just told him that this morning. I tell you over in the church. I tell you like it is. We got to take control back. We wonder why our kids are getting to the things they're getting in. They are the parents and we're the children. Not in mine. I bought your shoes, bought your drawers, bought the pants you got on, the socks, t-shirts you got on. I bought you in this world naked. You fool around with me long enough you'll leave your naked. Just talking about what I'm talking about. You can't let nobody stop you from praying for our kids. It's still legal to have meditation in school. Pray for discernment when dealing with our young people. Number 5, refuse to be a dropout if you're going to be out of here. Number 66. Because of this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer went about with him. He just fed them. But because they couldn't get any more lunch, they left. Because they didn't understand the hard subjects, they left. Many left him. They stopped learning. There was only a few students left. Jesus asked the question to the few students left in verse 67. He says, so Jesus asked the 12, he said, do you wish to go away also? Y'all going to leave me also because I don't feed you no more? Because I'm teaching difficult subjects? You going to leave also? I mean, after you see me turn water into wine, you still going to walk out on them. After seeing how the cripple got healed in John chapter 5, you going to leave me also. After seeing me feed 5,000 men and women, not including 5,000 men, not including the women and children. You still going to walk out on me after all I've done for you? You going to leave? Some of you have been in school since preschool. Now that you're in high school, you feel the urge, you want to give up. Don't ever quit. You made it this far. Now you're going to quit? After spending all that time, after getting that close to your destiny, doing all of that, and you want to quit? Jesus said, you've done all of that? Now you want to quit on it? Just because you didn't do as well as you wanted to do on the ACT, now you want to quit? Now you're going to quit? Do you realize education determines everything in the world in which you live in? But I love Peter. Peter says it like this. God, he says, where are we going to go? He says, God, you asked a question. Let me ask you a question. Where am I going to go? If I leave you, where am I going to go? Lord, to whom shall we go? Who else can heal my mother-in-law but you? Who else can save me when I'm about to drown? But you. God, why would I leave you now just because things have gotten rough? Because I'm going to attempt murder in the garden. Who's going to save me but you? Lord, to whom shall we go? I refuse to be a dropout. They told me I'd never make it out of high school. I refuse to be a dropout. But I rode the small bus. I refuse to be a dropout. Yeah, it took me some time to get through college, but I refuse to be a dropout. Yeah, it took me some time to get my master's, but I refuse to be a dropout. Yeah, I green student my doctor, but I refuse to be a dropout. Whatever you do, don't you ever quit on the God who made it possible for you to get this far in life. If he brought you this far, surely he'll take you on. I don't care how rough it is. I don't care what people say about you. I don't care how they downplay you. I don't care how they talk about you. Whatever you do, don't you quit. Don't quit. Hang in there. Hang in there. Don't you ever give up. Don't ever turn your back on God. Don't quit, God. Whatever you do, don't quit. I'm talking about the one who put wetness in water. The one who put whiteness in snow. The one who put the blue in the sky. The one who gave carrot and zinc. The one who put the vitamin D in the milk. I'm talking about God. I'm talking about the one who put the leaf in the frog. I'm talking about the one who gave the bunny his heart.